Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 36 of Takeaways. My name is Patrick Searcy. I'm the Director of Marketing for ALN Apartment Data, and I'm joined by the actual star of the show here, our Senior Market Analyst, Jordan Brooks. Jordan, how are you?
I am great, Patrick. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks so much for asking. Today we're talking about the article from the July 2023 newsletter. It's called "A Bumpy First Half of the Year Comes to a Close." I want to start off by talking about the fairly poor net absorption so far this year. Is that more of a case where it's a handful of markets that are dragging down the national numbers, or is this more widespread?
I think in general, it's more of a widespread phenomenon. There are a number of markets that are dragging that number down just in terms of being in negative territory for the first half of the year. But even beyond that, if you look at even the top performers, the top performers really are not at the level that we would expect in a typical year. So some of those leading markets, you've got net absorption 3,500, 4,000 units, something like that. So even the markets that are doing relatively well compared to other parts of the country, it's a more muted demand picture than I think we're sort of accustomed to seeing, sort of from a historical standpoint. But then also to your point, at the bottom of the rankings for absorption, there are a number of markets that are in negative territory, which is also bringing that national number down.
Rent growth has been a main talking point for a long time now, but especially in recent months with some negative growth. So you talked about the slowdown so far this year, but are we seeing markets that are um, in negative territory?
Um, in terms of the first half of the year, there's a handful or so of markets that are below zero in terms of rent change. Um, if memory serves, it's about 8 or 9 markets, so it's not a huge number, but we are seeing the start of that, certainly. And I think really this newsletter was more a focus on the first half of the year. If you dial into the second quarter specifically, it's even then it's not a much larger number, but we definitely did see in the second quarter sort of those markets that were straddling the line start to move in a negative direction. But overall, it's more about just lower growth across the board than it is a lot of markets that have gone negative. Now, in the back half of the year, there certainly are a group of markets that again are kind of straddling that line, that we could see go into negative territory. But right now, it's about 10 markets or slightly less, not a huge number.
Well, like you said, this article is more about the first half of the year, but you did identify some national issues facing the industry looking ahead to the rest of this year. But what would be something that we should watch out for at the market level that may impact end of the year results?
I think at the market level, and this isn't going to be exactly breaking news, but I think at the market level, the metric to really pay attention to is new supply. That really is the factor that's determining a lot of where these other performance metrics are going. Again, because apartment demand has been so tepid and it's kind of been stubbornly low for a year and a half now in most markets. Those areas that are getting a lot of new supply, which in general is a lot of the Sun Belt markets, but not just the Sun Belt markets. In those areas, because demand is pretty low right now, you're getting a big impact on occupancies, which when the occupancies are going down, that's taking the wind out of the rent growth sales, and that's kind of making lease concessions be more of a factor. And so really the new units right now is kind of moving all these other variables. And so when we look ahead to the rest of the year, I would say the markets where the new construction pipeline is expected to be very active, those are the areas where we would point to as in terms of 2023 overall performance. You're probably looking at further declines in occupancy, more struggles on the rent growth front, and continued increases in discount availability.
Well, we're in the dog days of summer here, but it is starting. We're on the back half of summer here, so I know it's starting to maybe pick up throughout the industry. Talk to us a little bit about what you have on your plate coming up.
Well, for me, I'm still a little bit in the dog days of summer. So I've got July 18th, I'll be doing the Multifamily Mindset podcast, which viewers of this can find information online or on our social media for that. And then I'll be speaking at the Coastal Georgia Apartment Association in Savannah, Georgia, August 9th, I believe. And other than that, I am staying home until September. So I'm enjoying a little bit of a break there.
That's nice. Well, do keep an eye on our social media for more information on where Jordan's speaking, where our company is going to different events like business exchanges and trade shows. You can follow us on Twitter at ALN APT Data, or you can just search for ALN Apartment Data on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. And right about now, you can click that like button that just popped up. Click that notification bell so that you're always notified of the most new content we put out on YouTube. Jordan, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. Very interesting stuff, and I look forward to talking with you next month.
Thanks, Patrick. See you next month.